there is a habit energy in every one of us. We are used to run. Usually people don't like to go home to themselves and get in touch with the suffering inside. They are afraid of being overwhelmed by the suffering inside. So the usual way is to try to run away from their own suffering. They try to cover up the suffering inside, their loneliness, their fear, their anger, and their despair. So for a teacher, or a school teachers, the first thing to do is to go home to himself or herself. The way out is in. Go back to oneself and take care of oneself. Learning how to generate a feeling of joy, learning how to generate a feeling of happiness, learning how to handle a painful feeling, a painful emotion. Listening to the suffering, allow understanding and compassion to be born and suffer less. This is the first step. And she has to do that. That is the first step.
5 years ago, my father passed away. And at that time, it was an aneurysm, very sudden. And so I kept, I retreated. I can remember at that time, I don't know, people would try to get it out of me. My wife tried very hard to have me talk about it. I couldn't. I thought, I can control this. My rational mind thought I could control this experience. But since that time, I lose my temper. I'll yell, raise my voice. Things have happened. But coming here, at the beginning of the retreat, Tay made a comment. He said, sometimes through the practice, you can touch your suffering. And I didn't really, I listened. But then when there was a sister leading the mindfulness of the inner child, and so we had to visualize the inner child, take care of our fragility, and then she went on to the mother inside of us. And I love my mother very much, and that was a very painful time for her. But I found myself, though I was trying to concentrate, thinking, move on to the Father, move on to the Father in me. And I've caused suffering for my wife, I've caused suffering for my children, for my students, in not knowing about my anger. And I felt that moment that I actually had touched my suffering.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's because of all these people that have taught me so much lessons.
And it was very much overwhelming for me. And I'm very grateful.
We can speak about the goodness of suffering. If we know how to embrace suffering, to hold it tenderly, to look deeply into it, and then we will be able to generate the energy of compassion and understanding, which are at the foundation of true happiness. It's like when you grow lotus flowers, you need the mud. Lotus flowers cannot grow on marble. Without the mud, you cannot grow lotus. The same thing is true with happiness and suffering. A good practitioner knows how to make good use of suffering in order to grow happiness.
We get teachers in our retreats that want to come and learn curriculums and techniques, but in the end, we teach them how to transform themselves, how to bring about happiness in their own lives. And that is more powerful than any curriculum or technique.
Although it's important to teach young people mindfulness, it's even more important to be mindful yourself as a teacher, because kids pick up on what you embody, who you are, much more than they do what you tell them to do.
It's just fundamental to any kind of teaching. The teacher needs to master it before they can share with the student.